Well, good day and welcome once again to Moments with Dr. Steve. I'm Dr. Steve Bonenberger. This is Moments with Dr. Steve, and I am the guy. I have been writing books, novels, stories, nonfiction works on healing, works on how to write, how to build characters, how to build plots for many, many years. We are working through the Writer's Covenant composition and compilation. And it is a seminal piece. It is a research piece, and we have created a course that is easy to follow, easy to understand, and gets you going. Go to thoughtpros.com. Now, every single day, folks, during the week, I'll say, Monday through Friday, as often as possible, I'm going to be here on this platform, wherever you're finding us. We're on many, many platforms. 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, pushing the notion that you can create something of value. Now, today we're going to talk about extreme clarity. My daughter is always talking to me about extreme clarity because I've been vague and wonky and murky in the past. But one thing that you'll find when you start to write, one thing that will happen to you when you start to compose, is that your mind will force you towards clarity. Murkiness and muddiness. What we know, what life teaches us, is that humans can be cloudy, we can be murky, can't we? Our souls are cluttered and filled with debris that can be toxic and even counterproductive. And my remedy is for us, all of us, to write. I've been writing forever, writing a composition. Clear the clutter, separate the dross from the purified materials, help us move out of victimhood and into responsible behaviors, help us forge a forgiveness pattern that starts with ourselves and then opens up compassion for others, helps us move past emotional fatigue and mind twists, and gets us to the place where we become missional in our thinking. There's a lot that I shall say about missional work and missionality and how it impacts our life through the days that we're progressing. Writing helps sunshine starts to enter into our darkened crevices. And at first, these are tiny pinpricks that barely seem visible to the human eye, but they appear nonetheless. And with each droplet of sunshine come connected tiny morsels of hope and tiny vessels of inspiration, murkiness and muddiness. You feel this. You're a human. You feel the ick. I like that term that the young folk use. You notice the yuck. You notice the internal conflict and the internal congestion and coagulation that you experience when you don't have clarity. And sometimes that vagueness creates this, even it begins momentarily, but then it migrates to a longer term messiness in a soul, conflict. We will all feel conflict. Conflict is a big part of our lives, and consequently, conflict is a huge part of storytelling. I often say, don't waste a morsel of your misery. And we'll get into conflict as in the days that go along, because I have entire chunks and sections of the writer's conflict that are dedicated to teaching you how to mine and define and work with conflict. But for today, I want you to press into extreme clarity. I want you to say these two words, extreme clarity. I want you to allow these to ring true and to resonate with your soul. I want you to end the season of your life that was full of murkiness. Whenever I get murky now, it is a sure sign that I'm off track. And I work hard then to come back to true north of clarity. Because true north of clarity allows us to have open and honest conversation and communication, first with ourselves. We can't lie to ourselves forever, can we? Then it creates an internal dialogue. Now with me, sometimes this dialogue is with God and sometimes it's not. But that internal clarity begins to, refine the conversation through internal dialogue. Compass headings. What I notice And what I think you notice is that as you start to write about your conflict, as you start the internal conversation or the external conversation with God and move it into a dialogue, not just a monologue, you'll begin to notice that some internal directional finding systems will start to grow. And how do they grow? Because you'll become quizzitive and curious. You'll become quizzical and curious. You'll begin to say, now that doesn't sound right, or ooh, that's not true, or oh, I misled them there, or I was misled here, or worst possible is that I completely missed the boat and I misspoke completely. On this day, what we're asking you to do is to create some introductory conversation with yourself. On this day, start to write down some troubling patterns. Start to write down what it is that's really breaking your system. And on this day, as you start to do that, I believe that you'll begin to move into some clarity. Now, on our next day, we're going to go over some review systems. But for today, the goal is extreme clarity. Start to work on removing fogginess and fuzziness and murkiness from your life. It is a life adventure for all of us. There's no doubt about it. But it clearly creates more than just accountability. It creates a directional system for us that becomes really a lifestyle and a life pattern. So if you want to talk to me, go to thoughtpros.com. If you don't, just leave us a note and we'll communicate. If you don't want to do that, just absorb the content, let it drive your thinking, and let it take you to some good places, because I want you to start composing, to start writing, to start thinking, to start crafting, because you are a creative. God made you that way. Till next time, this is Moments with Dr. Steve. I'm Dr. Steve. Travel far, my friends. Travel far.